Good evening. I'm Maria Laukai with the New Dawn FM News. The headlines: preparations underway. Committee meet Bana people. Clark says officers will be paid. St. Christopher Early Childhood School open. And strong wind warning current. The news in detail. Bougainville Electoral Commissioner Mr. George Manu says preparations are underway for the upcoming ABG elections. While we are yet to receive any funds for enrollment or polling, we are preparing ourselves and voters as best we can. Commissioner Manu said he advised voters that the ABG elections will be different from the referendum just conducted. The referendum had its own voter eligibility and voters were asked to mark X in one box, Mr. Manu said. ABG elections are held according to the Bougainville Constitution. This requires the referendum roll to be updated and people to be given awareness about limited preferential voting or LPV 123. The lesson of the referendum was that a goodwill, good awareness and good engagement with community governments was central to a good outcome. We want to use those lessons to hold a quality election that Bougainvilleans deserve. Commissioner Manu said that while the referendum roll was a good one, it needed updating the three ways. 1. Enroll young Bougainvilleans who have turned 18 since 23rd November, the cutoff date used for the referendum. 2. Remove the names of non-Bougainvilleans not eligible under the ABG electoral laws. Where needed, give people the chance to update their enrollment locations. We urgently need funds to update the roll before the Speaker issues the writs to me according to the Constitution. Mr. Manu said despite the lack of funds, his office has already begun consultations and awareness with community governments. We have completed a plan. I have selected AROs for appointment and my staff are now in the field talking with the community governments about the 2 stages of enrollment, update and public display, Mr. Manu said. What we are waiting for is a commitment and the transfer of the PNG 13.5 million kina for the budget submitted to the ABG last year and a confirmation of dates for the writs. Commissioner Manu reminded voters that unlike the referendum, the ABG elections use an LPV system where every voter must mark 3 ballot papers with 1, 2, and 3 according to who they want to represent them in the parliament. 25% of referendum voters were first-time voters and they only need to mark 1 box with an X. That was a very simple process and a single message. But the 1, 2, 3 LPV system is very difficult. We don't want to see chaos and confusion and spoiled ballot papers at the ballot box. We will need time and resources to give Bougainvilleans the sort of quality electoral process delivered by the BRC. We know Bougainville is short of both, but we are doing our best and call on the government and the voters to support us in this goal. The Parliamentary Select Committee on Constitutional Law today met with the people of Baba and Lato community governments, and similar to what happened in CY, one community government Bulawayo had no presentation at today's consultations. Today's meeting was held at Sobele Parish in Bana. The committee was traveling to Bana from Siwai when one of its vehicles was swept away by flood at Tavera River near Sobele. Luckily, no one was injured in the mishap and the car was also recovered. Mechanics replaced oil and fuel and the car was given to the committee to continue to work. The people of Baba had earlier met and decided to support the amendment for the former combatant seat to continue and the extension of President's term to 3 terms. They said the people were determined who the next president in the coming election. The people of Plateau, however, wanted no changes to the constitution to allow the term of the president to 3 terms. They said the 2 terms should remain. On the former combatants, they wanted the seats to remain as they are still needed up to the ratification. The committee will meet with the people of Torquay tomorrow at Marau Market. You are listening to New Dawn FM News. The clerk of the Bougainville Parliament, Robert Tapi, says all monies owed to staff of the Parliament will be paid this year. He told New Dawn FM this afternoon that matters relating to parliamentary staff working up their job since last week will be settled. Mr. Tapi made these comments whilst responding to questions why the staff have walked out of their jobs last week. He said that staff outstanding increments will be paid once funds are made available. Last week, staff told New Dawn FM that they will continue to stay at home until their rates are effected. Helen Akena went to enroll 8 of her grandchildren at the start of school term at a local early childhood school, Galatana. She was heartbroken when she arrived and found that there was no space for them. That evening she had a committee meeting in Bushbin where it was decided that they must start their own early childhood school. After a couple of weeks, the community raised funds to start their own school that was officially opened today. The school has been registered and has 3 teachers to start with. The school fees for this year is 160 or 40 kina per term. Parents who wish to enroll their children can enroll them at Helen Akena's house in Yeta Village. The PNG Weather Office and the National Maritime Safety Authority issued strong wind warnings is current for the next 24 hours. Northeasterly winds are expected between 25 to 33 knots and could go up to 47 knots in the next 24 hours. These can cause rough seas and high waves, and all boats are requested to remain on shore until the weather improves. Scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms are expected during this time. Anyone who wishes to venture into sea is strongly discouraged for their own safety. Finally, to end the English bulletin, here are the news headlines again. Preparations underway. Committee meet Bana people. Clerk says officers will be paid. St. Christopher Early Childhood School open and strong wind warning current. This has been the New Dawn FM News. You can also see our news on the 2 New Dawn FM sites on www.bougainville.typet.com, www.bougainvillenews.com. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter. On behalf of the news team, I'm Maria Laukai. You have a pleasant evening.